So good morning. Can you introduce yourself and what you do in your role?
Absolutely. My name is Roelof Holwerda. I work for Dell EMC, just merged, as you may know. And my role since indeed the merger is to run a role within the global channel marketing team for Dell EMC. And my role is to enable partners, our channel partners worldwide, with our marketing activities.
Right.
So making our marketing engine, if you like, available to partners, and
Right.
large, small, and everything in between.
All right, okay, interesting. So I understand you had an interesting role in the merger. So you were responsible for kind of merging the marketing department. So what kind of challenges did you face there?
Yes, exactly. Let's start with that. So Dell and EMC merged, and that was the largest merger in IT history. So massive deal, obviously. And I was asked at some point to project manage the marketing integration project for EMEA.
Right.
And what was super interesting about that role was actually that well before the actually closing day, we needed to make the plan in place to get ready for our external exposure on day one, and to prepare the outside world, but also prepare the inside world to make people ready for that day one. And the cool thing was, but also the challenging thing was that two existing marketing teams in EMEA had to work together. And they knew, of course, that at some point, maybe in the future, they were actually working together with the person that would maybe take over their role.
Yeah.
And the brilliant thing, and I really am very impressed with that, is the team mentality. So everybody on that team, without knowing their potential own future role, was just working to make this a big success.
So how did you get that energy going? Was it just by communicating a lot? What was the thing that kept that energy?
Yes,
going?
we made it. The structure was that we kind of defined a set of work streams, and we broke a big project down in smaller parts.
Right.
And then we made one EMC and one Dell person responsible together for that work stream.
That's clever.
And so they worked very well together in owning that work stream. Yeah.
And what about the technologies? If we're so reliant on technology, did you have two competing technology stacks or platforms for marketing that were going to rub up against one another? How did you solve that one?
Inside marketing, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of difference, but also a lot of similarities. And probably the big difference was that EMC is aimed at a smaller amount of very large customers,
Right.
and Dell traditionally had more like an approach of many customers, but somewhat smaller. So the type of approaches in marketing is also is quite different. Let's say high touch marketing for those massive accounts, and more marketing at scale for like thousands and thousands of somewhat smaller accounts. So the approach are different, but at the end of the day, we had the same CRM tools. We did have a bit of a different philosophy in measurements and tracking, for example, pipeline and leads. But overall, the philosophy was very similar. Yeah. So it was very complementary as well. So yeah, we could get the best of both worlds, if you like.
So now you're sort of helping Dell EMC's channel partners with their marketing. So you just want to take us through what sort of mechanisms you're putting in place to help them. How does that all work?
Yeah. So what we do is we have, if you like, two very large business units for client computing, like PCs and laptops, versus our infrastructure solutions, which is very much a data center, cloud, storage, networking, those type of solutions. And these BUs have big marketing teams that come up with brilliant campaigns. Now what we do, my role is to enable our thousands of partners with those campaigns. So what we do is we explain to partners which campaigns we have available to them to use, how to use them, and also tailor it to different type of partners. So we have very large partners that have a large capability and large marketing muscle potentially, and they have different needs, or they can use different aspects from our campaigns versus, let's say, at the other end of the spectrum, the really small resellers that need something completely ready to use and ready to run with. And we make everything in between available to those partners. We use playbooks and online self-service portals in order to make that available. And of course we have for our larger partners also an army of product marketing, partner marketing managers who can help those partners to use our marketing
so
campaigns.
Is the playbook sort of, you know, is it video? Is it a lot of reading? What is it? How does that playbook work?
Yeah, it's a combination of explaining what is in it for partners and how to use it and the benefits, if you like, to run with our channel marketing campaigns. But also it's then actually a tool which offers across the whole buyer's journey assets and messaging that could be applied in all kinds of different marketing tactics that the partner would like to run. And it's very easy to download, and it's indeed, absolutely, it's from digital activities to more traditional activities like email and events, as well as sales enablement within the partner. Right. So we make that whole full spectrum available at your fingertips of the partners.
And is that all your own system? Is it a software product that you're adapting, or is it something you've homegrown?
No, we work with a number of vendors. Yeah,
right.
Actually.
And you pull it all together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you see as the marketing mix that's working for those partners?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And what is interesting, actually, it's massively varied. So which is encouraging, I think. It means that our total partner base does apply and use a lot of different marketing tactics. So it was. There's definitely. Partners that like our, we see that in our downloads and usage statistics, a high propensity of the digital advertising assets that we see a lot of downloads, but also to be honest, you know, events and email marketing are popping up as the most highly downloaded assets. So I think it's across digital, events, and email marketing.
Right. Yeah. And how's everyone doing with social media? I mean, is there a particular favourite channel? Is there something that really works well for people?
Yeah, I see that the mostly used platforms are probably LinkedIn and Twitter for business to business. What I see we use mostly, and also internally we have a tool which is called Everyone Social, which is quite a nice platform to make it easier to distribute rich and quality content for a large group of people to their own preferred networks, which is fantastic. I think this is a really helpful tool to also get a large group of employees engaged faster and easier, and to lower the hurdle to actually be out there on social and help with social selling as well. And the marketing team, what we try to do is really make those posts available with, you know, nice pictures and supported with videos and a good message, so that for our employees, and we have a very large group of employees that like to be on social, but sometimes don't know exactly how to do it.
That's good.
And exactly, and so this makes it just a lot easier and less time consuming to go out there with high quality posts. Yeah.
Mm. So all great, but how are you measured? How are you, you know, all that activity is happening? How are you measured as a marketeer on the success of that?
Yeah, so in my current role with channel partners, it's very much around partner activations. So how many partners are participating in our campaigns? We measure that. Then it's typically like a number of downloads from the tools that I just described. The number of assets that are downloaded. That's what we measure. And the trends in those, and which type of partners, like are large partners downloading or are small partners downloading, and then by geography, how do we stack up against, and then across the BUs as well. So downloads of particular client solution campaigns, for example, our workforce transformation campaign, or our converged infrastructure campaigns. How does that stack up, and what's the usage? And then that later, that's the kind of the participation and engagement metrics. But down the line, we are very much business driven, of course, and then you're measuring like in leads, number of leads generated by those partners, which in our case result in deal registrations, marketing driven deal registrations. So a partner has registered a deal with Dell EMC, and also we then measure the resulting pipeline, and then of course we measure converting revenue and margin down the line. So those are more the classic.
And are you personally measured on the overall revenue number of the of the area that you look after, all the partners?
Yeah, so I to be honest, it's very early days. So we're building this new global team, but so it takes a while to get that established. But that is definitely the vision and the direction we're going to. So, yeah, our channel campaigns and the activities have to drive a certain pipeline target. Absolutely, yeah.
And in terms of producing all these assets for the portal, are you doing that all internally? Are you using agencies? So what's the kind of mix of agencies that you're using, or are you all in-house?
Yes, no, we have a combination of in-house produced assets as well as agencies, and that's an interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different agencies. One of my roles is also to try and to simplify the work and to do more with fewer agencies, and that's actually quite an interesting challenge, because in a global role you have team members across the globe who are typically working with agencies that are just near where they are based, and that sometimes is a challenge, because I do think smaller agencies that may not have a global presence can be extremely creative and good to work with, and therefore I like to have a good mix of global capabilities versus the a small set of very good agencies that can deliver and are close to us.
Yeah, you've got to be global. So where do you see it in sort of 5 years' time? Where do you see marketing going?
I think marketing is in a very cool moment at this moment. I like if in business to business, 10 years ago, marketing was, with all respect, a very expensive sales support function.
Yeah.
I think with the importance of digital, marketing becomes a business development at scale operation, and that's an extremely interesting proposition. So I think therefore the role of marketing is going to be much stronger, and because we can reach so many people. And therefore. I feel we're in a very good place at this moment, being in marketing, and the understanding step by step of the rest of the board of the value of marketing is increasing as well, and I feel that very encouraged by our developments in terms of getting the message out, reaching a lot of people early in the buyer's journey, and then working together with sales to go further inside that buyer's journey. But that initial business development at scale element of where marketing can deliver is really helping us to get that position. Yeah.
And in terms of advertising, what role does advertising play?
Yeah, it's twofold. One is indeed like make those assets available so partners can drive their own advertising with our messaging or even with our assets, and potentially co-branded. But that's one aspect. So we leave partners very free to do that, as long as it drives results. But and then the other aspect is indeed to reach out to the specific channel community to make sure that our channel partners are aware of our great incentives, our great products, and our great sales propositions for their end customers. And once we get those three things right, that's kind of my main proposition in our current channel-specific marketing and advertising that we do.
Great. So let's just do a bit of a quick fire round. So what was your last big aha moment in marketing? What was your big, where you saw something or thought, what was that?
Actually, I'm gonna say this, like the biggest one thing is that if I don't understand it, probably a lot of other people don't understand it.
That's
so my aha moment is like, just keep it simple. And be not afraid to challenge people to say this is too complex.
Yeah, good. And do you have a favourite CMO or somebody that you look at and you think, they've done a really good job?
Yeah, I'm going to say very close at home. That's within Dell EMC. Jeremy Burton is our CMO, and he's amazing. I've been working now and seeing him in action for just over 6 months, and he's made a massive impact, and he's an absolute role model in terms of CMO.
I know Jeremy. I used to work with him at Oracle, so that's an interesting one. In terms of, is there a kind of marketing campaign that you thought would work really well for you?
Yeah, I think the best campaigns are the ones that cover the full buyer's journey, and that's very principal to our thinking as well. So you start with awareness, and early engagement, then lead generation, and then followed up with sales enablement and channel enablement, and even distribution enablement. And so the best campaigns I've seen is literally to have a very large funnel working. And I've seen great examples. We had a campaign around Future Ready Enterprise.
Right.
And it started with all the big topics about digital transformation and how that helps companies to make the right choices and make the difference between to Uber or being Ubered, and then go all the way down. That what does that mean for transforming their IT and modernizing their data center, and then all the way down to which service do I need, which storage units do I need, and what networking equipment do I need, and what software on top do I need in the middleware.
So that worked really well, that campaign.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it starts from the very high-level messaging all the way down to very specific products and solutions. Yeah.
Right. And what do you read, or where do you get your information from on what's happening in marketing and what's happening in your market?
Yeah, of course, I spend quite a bit of time online, and I love just reading magazines like Wired or Harvard Business Review.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot in there, and I like just wild other ideas. Just National Geographic, for example,
Right.
has some very interesting articles that you can just relate to in your
Yeah.
own field of work. So I'm actually not even reading that much specific marketing magazines, if you like. Yeah.
And finally, asking about your team. Obviously you're managing a global team. How do you manage that global team?
Yeah, very good question, because literally I have my team is spread across the world, and we don't see each other. We work remote a lot, so my team members are most of the time not like near me in the office, which is you need to get to learn how to deal with that as a manager, but also as a team member. The first thing is building trust with everybody. So I trust people just to deliver on their results. I'm not watching whatsoever in terms of when they work or how many hours they work.
Right.
That's kind of the first basic principle. But in how we keep the communication going is we have 3 calls a week.
Right.
With the whole team. I do a Monday check-in, and we try to just have a bit of social chat about, hey, what did you do in the weekend? And then we go through the priorities of the week. Then we have one longer call where we have a specific set of topics, deeper topics, and maybe some guest speakers. And then on Friday we have a check-out meeting. So we just check in, like, hey, how did it go in terms of how did we do against our priorities that we set on Monday, and then at the end we try to say, hey, what's your weekend going to be like? So we have a little bit of social chat combined with business.
And what times do you have those to cross across the time?
That's interesting, because some people are based in in totally different time zones. So for them, it's like the Monday call is their morning, but
Yeah.
for others that is already late afternoon.
Yeah.
So you can't escape that. But that's just a fact of life. I also have one-to-ones with each team member every week. I think that's very important. So they move a lot, but I try to keep them. So that's keeping us close, and I totally encourage that people talk between themselves, and that's awesome. I mean, they typically figure stuff out sometimes without me being there much better than if I'm there. So that works quite well as well. And of course, face-to-face time is very valuable. So we try to meet up about every 6 months.
As a team physically.
Yeah, as much as possible. But it's not always feasible, and in terms of travel budget, that's also not always feasible. But face-to-face time is absolutely invaluable. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Roelof, that's been really insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure.